What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Mosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That's the one, the only Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, morning, sunshine. What's going on today?
No, another game packed. I'm planning what I'm playing for the rest of the day, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we've got a few things to talk about. We're going to wrap up our thoughts on E3 today, and Bethesda apologizes to PlayStation fans, and there's a whole lot more in the world of Xbox coming. That, of course, is always found live with us on ITG Daily over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG and YouTube. If you can't join us live, no big deal. Hit us up later at InsideTheGame.ca, TV streaming networks around the world, and podcast services around the globe. Scott, you ready to get going on your thoughts? Final thoughts for E3, buddy?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's get started.
All right, let's kick it off. Scott, I'll let you take the charge on this one. Dude, what are your final impressions of this year's E3 for 2021?
Oh, well, there was some presentations that were absolutely more entertaining to watch than others.
For sure.
So there was some days that really stood out to me, and one of those has to be the Xbox showcase. I think they kind of stole the show this year.
Yep.
There will, of course, be a lot of debate on that, but they came out swinging, and it's funny enough, Bethesda is part of what we're going to talk about today as well. But Bethesda definitely threw their weight into the Xbox presentation as well, and I think it went well for just about everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm most thinking about the Halo Infinite multiplayer, the little bit of action we got to see on that front.
Gotcha.
But there was a lot of big hits that, as the days went on, Redfall stands out to me, and there's so many now. I have to refer to the list we've made and our notes to kind of keep track of everything.
There's definitely a lot that kind of unfolded over the course of the weekend. Everything kicked off with Summer Games Fest with Jeff Keighley, and I thought he did an excellent job kicking it off. And then we rolled into Friday, which I didn't think was actually a highlight whatsoever on Friday. We looked forward to Ubisoft, which I thought was decent. Like, I thought Ubisoft did an okay job, right? A lot of the titles we saw, we already knew about. I think that was the biggest issue there with Ubisoft, is that there was nothing really new and exciting until we got to Avatar at the end. Still no Beyond Good and Evil 2. Still nothing on Splinter Cell. I'm not even going to get into that whole fiasco. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing in Skull and Bones hasn't really been updated.
Nothing, right? So there's a lot missing when it comes to the world of Ubisoft and their lineup. And then when you roll into Sunday, everybody was excited for Sunday because now we're getting into Xbox, and a lot came out when Todd Howard kicked it off, man. And like that's a bold way to get going already. Not Phil Spencer. They ended with Phil Spencer, which I thought was really, really good. The pacing of what Xbox brought to the table is what everybody else should consider when forming their E3 conference. It was a little bit of conversation right at the very beginning, like a little intro, and then it was games, and then back to it was into Pete Hines, and then games, and then Phil Spencer and games. Like, it was just, dude, the pacing was just on point, right? It was just constant flow of games and information that we wanted to see, not just people talking this entire time and getting bored. Like, the worst one, dude, I'm going to bring it up, was Prime Matter. 2 hours you and I sat here watching this stream and going, why are we doing this? Like, what is this? And then they ended every little interview they did with, what does Prime Matter mean to you? I'm like, come on, guys. Like, it was just such a bizarre way to showcase at E3.
It was a bit of a flex, similarly to what Xbox did by having Todd come out and be the very first person you see. It was a bit of that kind of flexing, but it was just not thought about from the consumer standpoint. Like, it seems like on paper they put together something they thought was strong, but it didn't it didn't hit us or excite us in any sort of way.
No, you have gamers and media, right? Press are in here looking to cover the world of E3 and what's going on there. And what I felt they did was they showcased the GDC, the Game Developers Conference. If you're looking for devs to come and join your platform, then that's where you go showcase this, like that kind of formula. This is for gamers. We want to see what's new in your lineup. We want to see what's exciting. What are you going to bring to the table? Instead, we just got developer interviews who announced their game, Scott, but you didn't see a logo. You didn't see a trailer. You didn't see any in-game cinematic. You didn't see gameplay. You saw absolutely nothing except for people on screen getting interviewed about their upcoming game. And it was like, dude, your game sounds cool, but I don't know what it looks like. Like, it's just, oh man, it was painful, Scott. It was painful. And then Square Enix, I thought was like, and I knew going into Square that there's gonna be two sides of it, right? Part of it I'll be excited for, the other part I won't be excited for, because I'm just not a big Final Fantasy guy whatsoever. So I kind of held expectations back a little bit. And then Guardians of the Galaxy I thought was a nice touch. The game play on that, the combat seemed a little off to me. Scott, how did you feel about Guardians of the Galaxy?
It looks to be something new, and I think it's trying to freshen up kind of what the traditional superhero games have been. This one's more of a, I kind of look at it as, it looks like Mass Effect to me.
Yeah.
You have your own powers, but you're also commanding some of your other squad mates, and there's like this radial wheel that you get to choose your attacks on. So everything looks to be a lot faster paced, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of stuff comes out of that, and if it is properly supported by fans.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's we'll see where this game lies. It's coming in October, I believe, so that's pretty exciting as well, which is always cool. And then there was War of Wakanda, which really got me excited, but it was all cinematic. Like, there was no real heavy focus on gameplay or anything of that nature, right? So it kind of made me question where the future of Marvel's Avengers lies, and how long will people be jumping in for to stick around, or are we just going to be bouncing in and then bouncing back out again? Because that seems to be the formula right now with that one. And then, Scott, Capcom had a conference, which I feel was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I had missed that entirely, I believe. There was a couple standouts that were announced. I'm pretty sure Ace Attorney, they have their own new title coming out that was announced. But other than that, there really wasn't a whole lot there for them. No new Dead Rising, no Mega Man, and so what was missing is kind of more of a standout. That's
yeah, absolutely.
That hurts.
And then we followed up with Nintendo, which had a weird presence of, they just want to see everybody's facial reactions and no stream in the conference, which I don't think flew well with anybody. I don't think that even happened, right? Like, everybody just did their own thing and covered the conference. Overall impressions on Nintendo, Scott?
Oh, there's some interesting stuff they had to get out of the way. Some things that we kind of expected them to announce. So they stuck to what was expected. I don't think they really slammed it out of the park, but with what they were working with, I think they put together a pretty sensible presentation. They got the Smash character reveal right out of the way early. I think that was smart, so that people aren't anticipating it the entire time.
Yeah.
And then to end off with Breath of the Wild 2, I'm not sure if that's a working title or not, but that's essentially what it is. And and that's a very strong hitter for that. They know their audience. They know there's a huge Zelda following. So that was pretty strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought it was strong, but yet safe, right? I think for Nintendo, is an easy way of putting that one. PlayStation, still no presence there. And I was talking in the Northern Nerdcast podcast actually last night about it, and I said to you felt the presence lacking with E3, with the fact that EA doesn't do anything now until July 22nd, which just seems weird for the EA play to be so far out of E3. Maybe it's because they didn't have enough to show. Who knows? But PlayStation had no presence either. And I'm hoping that one day that we can all kind of pool back together again, Scott, to have that overarching, here's the big bang for the year of this is what you get out of PlayStation, Ubisoft, Nintendo, EA, Xbox, right? Like, have that. And then you always saw Xbox and PlayStation kind of battle back and forth for the mind share and that sort of thing. Where this time, really, dude, Xbox carried this entire E3.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking initially was, maybe PlayStation didn't have something for sure to fire back with.
Yeah,
because they are very reactionary of each other, PlayStation and Xbox.
Yes, they are.
I thought maybe they folded instead of bringing something just lackluster.
Well, right, you don't want to come out like how maybe like Capcom did, right, where they just really didn't need to be there at all. So maybe instead of being in that mind share, they will just go, we're not going to be there whatsoever. But we've also noticed that they've been out for the last couple of years too. So will PlayStation come back to E3? I think at this point is the biggest question. I'm looking to find out for next year. But Scott, let's roll into what's going on in the world of Bethesda, because Bethesda apologized for Starfield Xbox exclusivity because, well, it can be frustrating for PlayStation owners. After months of will they, won't they speculation, Microsoft and Bethesda have confirmed that upcoming RPG Starfield will be an Xbox Series X and S and PC exclusive. And though this may be frustrating for PlayStation owners, Bethesda's longtime marketing boss, Pete Hines, says he understands this is disappointing and apologizes. Quote, if you are a big fan of stuff we make and a game that we are making is no longer available on your platform, I totally understand if you are unhappy, or I'll just leave it at that. I get it. These are all real feelings and frustrations, unquote, Hines said in an interview with GameSpot. I don't know how to allay the fears and concerns of PlayStation 5 owners. They say, well, I'm a PlayStation 5 player as well, Hines added, and I played games on that console, and there's games I'm going to continue to play on it. But if you want to play Starfield, PC and Xbox. Dude, I think that they spent $7.5 billion for a reason, Scott. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it was absolutely to lock up those major franchises.
Yeah.
I have one thought. How is everybody going to react to Elder Scrolls
That's
6
the next thing, right?
being snagged just by Xbox? That'll be brutal.
Well, so this is the big thing as we watched over the E3 press conference. 30 games announced there, 27 of which are coming to Game Pass, right? That's their focus. They're not really even focused on Xbox anymore. They're focused on the Game Pass platform. And how do you drive that platform? You hold exclusives like Starfield, like Elder Scrolls. So PlayStation fans upset? Absolutely. Do I understand why they're upset? Absolutely, Scott, right? You've been part of this Bethesda fan base for so long, which has been on multi-platforms. You can get Skyrim everywhere, including fridges at this point. You know what I mean? So now all of a sudden you can only get it in 2 places, your Xbox Game Pass or PC. And that is it. So yeah, you're going to tick off a lot of people, but we all saw this coming, Scott. You knew they spent that amount of money, and you don't just go, let it go everywhere else. Here's something for you, Scott. We were talking last night with the Northern Nerdcast. Look for his channel over on YouTube, Northern Nerdcast. And Clayton brought up, he thinks, and I want to get your opinion on this, he thinks Starfield will remain a timed exclusive on Game Pass for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then go over to the world of PlayStation to kind of, okay, we've had the fan base grow, everybody's on the platform, the game now is starting to slowly kind of dwindle down. Let's relaunch the platform over on the PlayStation. We'll launch Starfield, and then they'll get an influx of gamers. Do you see this happening?
That's an interesting idea, and that I could see how that would be commercially viable for sure. In a way of kind of refreshing, double dipping. You get two opening launches. I can see how that would be beneficial, but I also think that was his name
Clayton?
Pete.
Pete Hines?
I'm thinking of Pete Hines. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, he would want to mention something about that, but maybe he's under gag order for a move like that. That kind of would be sensitive, but you'd think he'd want to kind of assure everybody if that were the case. But As you said, it's a huge amount of money that changed hands here. I'm supposed to talk about it. And,
Well,
yeah, maybe that'll come up in a year or two. But if it is timed exclusive, I think it's quite far out.
yeah, I don't think it is. I think it is Xbox exclusive. And you saw throughout the press conference that it said console launch exclusive. It did not say that here. It said Xbox exclusive, right? And I think that's the biggest thing to take away is that PlayStation fans, if you want to play Starfield, are now going to have to go buy an Xbox or get it on PC. That's the biggest thing, right? They want to push Game Pass, allow you to build that library. And dude, they're building that thing. Like, we talk about it all the time on this show, Scott. The fact that Game Pass is just growing and growing. You know, like, it's getting a rotation of games and is getting so many games. And now, PlayStation always boasted the fact that they have exclusives, right? They have so many exclusives. And PlayStation nails their exclusives. And Xbox has always been sitting on the back end of things without exclusives. And now they bought ZeniMax. So now they have studios, like so many studios, dude, that, yeah, here's your exclusives now, right?
Yeah, this is a move that Stadia really should have made early on.
Man.
And that would have secured them a place.
No, for sure. It's well, we saw Stadia close down their Stadia Games and Entertainment division, right? I don't know. I question the future of Stadia, but I do not question the future of Xbox because it's only getting bigger. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're poised to own and capitalize on this genre generation. I mean to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we'll see how quickly they grow now, right? With the ZeniMax purchase and everything else. It's been interesting to watch, that's for sure. But Xbox isn't done yet with E3 because they got the Xbox Game Showcase extended, which starts today. They'll be talking about Senua Saga, Hellblade 2, Psychonauts 2, Avowed, and many more games. That'll be streamed today at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'd like to do this, Scott. I just don't know if we can today. Just there's so many things going on, but we will definitely capture it later, and we will be bringing it back tomorrow to cover a whole lot more on what happened today. Anything you're looking forward to out of that?
I think they're going to take a fine-tooth comb to some of the releases we saw. So we'll get a lot more information on some of the bigger, heavier hitters, and I think that's going to be good. But yeah, I'm not sure if we should kind of host this one directly because it could go several hours. I think this is going to be a long one.
I think this is where they do the deep dive, right? Like for the conference, they just went games. Now they're going to do a game. Like they'll bring out Avowed, but then they'll bring out the dev team behind Avowed and do a deep dive into the conversations and discussions about it. I think this is where the Xbox is playing it smart and allowing you to get the hype built up from E3. And now here's what else is coming down in like 2023, 2024 that we can expect to see hit the Xbox platform. And then you talk about the games with the dev team and stuff. I think this was a very smart move.
Oh, yeah. And it allows them to take up a larger time slot, too. You talk about mindshare, but they are continuing to keep themselves in the spotlight this way.
No, absolutely. And dude, the E3 ended off with the Xbox mini fridge.
Yeah, there's a little bit of them owning the joke there, and I think I really like that reaction. Yeah. People have joked about the Series X being the Xbox fridge.
Yeah.
and now it seems there really is an Xbox fridge.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny to see. It's
I'm a little bothered by how much I actually want it.
Dude, I really want one. I really do. Yeah, no, I saw that and I'm like, oh, I gotta get one of these. A little PSA, PlayStation gears up for the next major PS5 system update later this year. They announced the registration kicks off for the first PS5 system software beta program. Registration is open to all players over the age of 18 in the US, Canada, Japan, UK, Germany, and France. In order to sign up, you'll need a PS5 console and an internet connection and a PlayStation Network account. Go to PlayStationBlog.com. Check out for more details if you want to get in on that. Scott, let's get into Gary McKay as a new studio general manager for BioWare. Gary McKay has officially been named the permanent BioWare Studio General Manager following the departure of Casey Hudson. Scott, losing... Casey left, then comes back, right? So we kind of thought, maybe we have a little hope now, right? Maybe things are going to start turning around over at BioWare. We'll see what the future looks like, because Anthem took a huge dive. Maybe he can save Anthem and save the face of BioWare for now, right? Unfortunately, Casey left. Now Gary's stepping in. He stepped into an intern role following Hudson's departure, and after careful deliberation, he's staying in this role going forward. McKay joined BioWare family back in January of last year as head of development or operations. In December, he was brought in to be the acting generation manager until this point, where he became something a little more permanent. I started my career in the industry with EA back in 1998, he said in a statement about his role, and it was so exciting to see the studio and company grow in the early days. I spent the next 7 years with EA before moving on, but now you could say I've come full circle. So, dude, we'll see what this future looks like now for BioWare, but I just find BioWare to be in an odd place right now. What about you?
Yeah, they're lacking their footing. Mass Effect reprinting of the Mass Effect stuff was definitely a step in the right direction. Kind of reminded people of where BioWare sits and what kind of stuff they bring to the table. Yeah, and it is important to note, if this guy joined BioWare back in January of last year, he has nothing to do with Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
It just he comes without that stain in the history, and hopefully they've all learned from missteps like that in the past. But Anthem being a big one, that hurts. I don't think this is going to inspire an Anthem 2 or anything, but
no, I don't think so.
It's a situation where they're shaking up their corporate kind of group of people. Maybe that changes the corporate culture a little. So I'm hopeful that this brings out some proper creative juices.
No, absolutely. We'll see what the future holds for BioWare, because it's been rocky, needless to say, for the last little while, right? But what seems to be a little rocky is the chaos surrounds Stranger in Paradise Final Fantasy Origins PS5 trailer. Square Enix wanted to get some game in the hands of fans at home, but the themes of chaos from Final Fantasy Origin have plagued these plans. Announced in the trailer, a demo was set to hit the PlayStation 5 soon after the new title was revealed. A short time later, folks were able to download the demo, some kind of in around just under 12 gigs. Unfortunately, well, they ran into some problems. They were getting an error. Can't continue using this game or app. The data is corrupt. Delete it from your PS5 and then download it again from your library. Scott, I haven't checked to see if it's working yet. But that's unfortunate. That's not how you really want to launch your new IP kind of thing for Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a stumble, and from Final Fantasy, I would expect a little bit more of a tightened release. But this is unfortunate, and as unfortunate as it is, I really hope that they resolve their issues with this demo now, and that averts some of the issues that could come up later.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a full release, you don't want those day one troubles on full release. That's
absolutely not.
That's disaster.
Yeah, but it looks like they got day one troubles just with the demo, so we'll see how that goes in the future. But let's look at Niantic is back with another AR game. This is Transformers Heavy Metal. This is their next upcoming mobile title in the world of AR. Scott, does this get you excited at all for anything in this world? Because, man, they nailed it with Pokemon, but not really feeling the Transformer thing, I can be honest.
Yeah, there's a couple different types of AR kind of mobile games that have come out now. Niantic is responsible for a few of them, I believe.
Yeah.
And everyone got swept up by the Pokemon, wave.
Yeah,
everybody was on that. Everybody my age it was almost like it was perfectly designed for us, and it took by storm. So I don't think this one's going to take off in the same kind of way, but I'm curious to see how they use the same technology to try and innovate. I haven't checked in on Pokemon Go for a long time, so I'm hoping there's something kind of new in this experience.
No, for sure. We'll see what happens. Scott, that'll wrap up today's show. This has been ITG Daily. Thank you all for watching. You can find me over on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. You can find Scott at Savage. And of course, you can always find us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg, as well as YouTube. And if you can't join us live, no big deal. Hit us up later at InsideTheGame.ca, TV streaming networks around the world, and podcast services around the globe. Until tomorrow, everybody, we'll see you inside the game.